technology part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. A big thank you to our amazing two speakers. We are truly lucky to have you with us today. So our topic for this session is Future Learning, Leadership Through Disruption. And our speakers are Jayashree Venkatraman and Neha Tripathi. Jayashree is the founder and CEO of Appraise Inc., which is redefining talent management using social recognition. And Neha is the founder and host of Neha Tripathi Talk Show, as well as the business unit head for women empowerment at Antwalk. So this is the format. Each of you will get 12 minutes to speak. At the 11-minute mark, I'll ring a bell, and by bell, I mean it's just going to be my phone alarm to remind you to start wrapping up. Okay, so Jayashree, shall we start with you?
Yep, sure.
Let's take it away when you're ready.
Yeah. So today I was thinking I'll talk more about how the future leadership is being disrupted, and because of all the disruptions around, and a new style. If you see, wherever the countries are being led by women, a new leadership style has emerged, right? So the New Zealand Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern or Germany Prime Minister Angela Merkel have been praised for the way they have controlled the pandemic. So why are these women leaders so successful in controlling the pandemic compared to the other male counterparts? Because they brought diversity and inclusiveness to the table. They brought group thinking to the table, and they took decisions based on experts, whereas some of the male counterparts did not, and you know the results, how they are in some of the countries. So what is it bringing? It's changing the leadership paradigm as we speak, right? It's more about inclusiveness, more about group thinking, bringing everybody into the table. And that's where the women leaders have emerged very strongly. And the whole pandemic has disrupted in many ways. It has created economic disruption. You see, because of the total lockdowns, country's economy has been disrupted to the wide extent. Personal lives have been disrupted a lot. And our lives have changed from the way we go to work to we have been stuck. Many businesses have been disrupted. Many businesses have gone out of business, and some of the businesses which came as part of the disruption, like Airbnb or the Ola and the Uber, which disrupted the way they are operating their business. But then this pandemic changed everything. Now they have to disrupt again. So organizations are being disrupted. Healthcare industry is disrupted. So you see that there is and that's why the leadership also has to become very disruptive. They have to think differently. They have to learn on the fly, and because of this whole VUCA world. Satya Nadella said something, and how we deal with these three stages during during this pandemic is like response, recovery, and reimagination. Those are the three stages in which we are looking at the new normal as we companies are coming back to the new normal. And new normal is still being redefined. So it is not being written and say this is the new normal. People are learning as they go back. So the first phase was simply responding. So the leaderships acted in the crisis mode. They said, how do I do this immediate impact on my office closure? How can I make the employees work from home? How can I cut costs and the like? So it does. So the response, we're just responding to the whole uncertainty which just came up, right? Then the second phase is about recovery, where it is already in many places people are coming back to recovery. And then the reimagination. And the reimagination is the most important thing. So the reimagination is all about, that's where you will become very disruptive. It is going to be very unique, notable, because a lot of innovations are going to be born. People are going to learn from this, from these lessons learned of the pandemic, and then come up with new opportunities. We are going to see remote control of manufacturing processes, because working from home becomes the new normal. So how do the leadership evolve during these phases? And how do we see a new, when we are going to be in this reimagination phase, what is becomes the key leadership traits which you need to have? And so let's look at some of the examples where you see speed and decision making has become the key thing while you are in this response recovery reimagination phase. Some companies like a global telco redeployed 1,000 store employees to inside sales immediately and trained them in 3 weeks. So that is how it has become. Speed and decision making are very, very important. Though we say you go slow and then speed up later because of the volatility in the industry, but at times the speed and decision making becomes a very key things for the leaders to do. Launching new business models, right? US retailer went from curbside delivery, which was, they went in 2 days, they implemented a curbside delivery where people can come and pick up groceries, while it was planned for 18 months. So developing new products. And engineering company just you will see manufacturing companies shift their process from what they are doing to start making ventilators and PPE stuff. So people were like really, really fast. The leaders who were heading the business were very key in making those speed and decision making. And what are the other qualities which you see as the leaders are emerging in this reimagining phase is you will see personal accountability. Leadership trait is accountability is the most important leadership trait you will see during the crisis. And because only when the leader is accountable, he can weather these kind of uncertainties, and they can hold others accountable for high standards of performance. So personal, they can tackle tough issues and make difficult decisions. So personal accountability is going to be the key trait during the crisis and afterwards as well. Empathetic leadership, that's a new trait which has required, it has emerged. You will see people demonstrating empathy in many ways during this pandemic, and it is going to continue in the new normal as well. If you, I don't know how many of you all have heard about this person called Robertino Rodriguez. He's a respiratory therapist in one of the hospitals in San Diego. So when he saw how people were, the patients were responding to the doctors and the nurses who were with completely covered top to bottom with the PPE units and the hazmat units, he could feel that their morale was really low. So what he did one day was he came up with this thing where he decided to put a picture of him smiling on his unit, PP unit, and the hazmat unit he was wearing. And he posted a picture of him smiling and said, "My name is Robertino Rodriguez." So then he saw how the patients reacted to him and smiled at him, right? So they were able to connect. So then every doctor and nurse started doing it. So there evolved an empathetic leader who saw that was a need and how to make that as a required thing. So they are going, and leaders have to be empathetic in dealing with employees, their consumers, customers, partners, because everyone has been affected and their normal lives have changed. As an organization leader, you need to make changes, decisions which will affect the lives of your employees or customers or partners. But what is needed, do it with love, caring, and compassion, and be empathetic. So empathetic leadership is one of the key traits you will see as for an emerging leader in the future new normal, right? So then what else? So digital transformation is everywhere. So a leader has to invest in digital transformation because you are seeing going to be digital from from touchless ID cards to remote operations of manufacturing plants. Overnight, companies moved from factories to work from home. So how digital, you will have to be investing in digital transformation, because that is when you'll be able to change this whole VUCA world. And other key thing is resilience and agility. That is another key trait for a leader. Resilient leaders have to start by anticipating what the success will look like at the end of the recovery phase, right? Respond, recovery, and reimagine. So at the recovery phase itself, you will have to start thinking of how your business is going to thrive for the long term. And of course, you have to be agile because no one knows what the future is going to be as your new normal is being redefined. So you need to be agile in terms of how you change your plans. You should actually, for many of the companies, having a yearly plan has gone to down to quarterly. Quarterly has become the new normal because you cannot think anything beyond that right now because the way it is, uncertainty is there, right? So you need to be agile and you need to be defining the destination first, work backwards, have the leadership team envision a successful state which is emotionally enabling. See, emotion, empathy, and all people will have to be able to trust you. As a leader, you need to have be there for the people, and you need to have that create that trust because the trust actually comes in 4 levels. If you see the trust, because the trust is about having a personal trust. They need to know that they can come to the office because everything has been taken care of. And then there has to be a financial trust for them. They need to, so it works in many ways for the employee. So the leaders will have to make sure their followers trust them and be accountable in what they do and be empathetic to the situation, right? Otherwise, you will not. These are some of the traits which are emerging as we are dealing with this crisis, which we have not done in the past in this big scale, right? So this has changed our lives. So leadership is also evolving in terms of or getting disrupted as we define what the new normal is. And so that's my few cents on what is the future of the leadership because the leadership is being disrupted as we speak because of the new normal. Rashmi?
Yes, thank you so much, Jayashree. Now let's hear from Neha. Neha?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, WEF, Reshma, for having me here. And Jayashree, I could so very well connect to what you said. And taking it ahead, I've had my enough share of corporate journey. I've been an investment banker and a forex analyst. And thereafter, when I started my own talk show, Neha Tripathi Talk Show, it came out as a platform where I was interviewing professionals and entrepreneurs across different domains to understand what they are going through, what ideology, what leadership skills they are evolving every day. It's one of my disruptive technique to bring in the expertise not only in myself but also with people across what people can learn from each other. That's the concept that I was working on. Going ahead, I was also part of many women-centric communities where I came across a lot of women who were going through career break. And again, that was one opportunity to disrupt and be a leader and think, how can I solve the problem? I came up with a mentorship program, Leading with Purpose, which was designed precisely for women with career break to help them relaunch themselves back into the workforce. The point which I'm making here is in my own life and in every one of our life, we come across scenarios, how we resolve it. And that is where I want to put across 3 important key pointers to emphasize. It's simple, but the way we think, the way we execute it, it makes a hell lot of difference. The first is rethink. Question what is wrong around you. Question what is it that is not resolved. Question and think around what needs to be done. It's very easy to point a finger to somebody and tell they did wrong to me. But question back, why did they did wrong to you? And why did they get a space and liberty to do something which was not acceptable? So rethink, even at the corporate journey, when you are doing something, rethink what is it that needs to be redone. And that needs to be executed in a very strategic way so that we can come across as a person who is making a dent in the society, in the space. And that kind of mindset can actually give a very diverse spectrum to who we are and evolve eventually in that phase. Point number two, which I would like to make here, is restructure. What do you think and what you have aligned yourself, you have to also align with people around you. The right communication with your family members, the right communication with your employees, the right communication with your colleagues, and restructuring the entire process around you to ensure that what your long-term vision is, it is aligned not only with yourself but with people around you. And that gives us a liberty to take a step ahead and make big decisions in life. Right now, I'm working as with Antwork as a head on their women empowerment channel, where we are working day in and day out to bring women from all across the globe, and in the form of micro videos, how we can bring out their expertise on the digital platform. So that is one another way of using disruptive technique. So what is disruptive today? We are completely digital. We have consumers who have very short attention span. Twitter, TikTok, thanks to them, they've reduced this attention span completely. So with these few things which have disrupted the entire society, entire working system, uh, and we have been onboarded completely on digital platform, how we can make digital platform as a tool, as a weapon to learn new things, to redesign new things, and to bring their experiences. So the kind of channel which I'm running is basically to uh, it's a very professional channel where we interview women who are thought leaders, who are entrepreneurs, who have raised funds, and we try to bring their expertise in the form of short videos on our website, which is antwork.com. So a woman who is missing out on a role model in her journey can look up to one platform and see how other women are doing. So we have women from US, we have women from UK, Europe, Singapore, India, Bangalore, across India now. And now my next vision is to bring on board women from underdeveloped nations. So what happens under limited resources? These women, again, they show disruptive leadership because they have limited resources and they try to be resourceful in those journey, and they come up with something which is unique, and they create again a dent in their own space. And that's where I am coming to my last point, which is recreate. So when you rethink, when you restructure, you recreate something which is different, completely different, and you try to create something which is valuable, which adds value to life, not only to myself but to people around me. So rethink, restructure, and recreate. And lastly, I'm very much aligned to the thought of leadership is I cannot declare myself a leader. My people will tell me whether I'm leader or not. That's so the very most of the people misunderstand themselves that they are leader, but no, their people will decide whether they are the leader or not. Now, if they lead with empathy, if they read with the right EQ, right now everyone is talking about IQ, AI, ML, all these stuff. But if the right EQ is mixed, which women do have in huge content, in huge amount in themselves, if we lead with right EQ, if we lead with empathy, we are disruptive leaders, not only in this pandemic, and it goes beyond pandemic, it goes beyond this disruptive world, and it goes beyond our imagination. So those are my three key pointers which I wanted to highlight and close my talk here. Again, to summarize, it's rethink, restructure, and recreate. Consistently, religiously, and effortlessly.
Thank you, Neha. Thank you both. Every single person I know has in one way or another, to some degree, been affected by the ongoing crisis. And everyone is so worried and unsure about how to move forward and about their future. So I felt this session really helped us understand how to regain control and how we can react in leadership or otherwise. So Before we end, it's my honor on behalf of WEF to award you both the iconic Women Creating a Better World for All award for your contributions. You should receive a soft copy of it in your email in a few days. So with that, let's end the session. Thank you again so much and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you, Reshma.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you,
you,
Jashmi.
Neha.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.